My family is pretty traditional in terms of their jobs. Being an entrepreneur was not really a thing. I've never been pushed to actually be an entrepreneur or start my own business. I was very lost because you get so many different advices and so many different comments from many different people. Definitely, I think we do not talk enough about mental health for entrepreneurs. I stress a lot, and there are periods of times that I stress more than what I'm supposed to stress.
If you see back, right, and how life was before and now today, how much changed?
Everything. I feel like everything changed. But now when I think about the 2nd of November 2020, when we actually registered the company, I believe it was one of the biggest moments of my life. I literally, when I pressed the button register, I think that's where my life completely changed.
Hi, Irina. Thank you so much for coming to the Life with Founder. How's it going?
Thank you so much for having me, Max. Everything is going well. It's pretty sunny in London, so very, very happy about starting finally to see some vitamin D.
It's nice to see some sunshine in London, yeah?
Definitely.
Used to be quite common. Used to be quite common now, which is very good. Again, thank you so much for coming. So the Life with Founder is an intro to your life more than be just a founder, which is not just a founder. I'm just talking about the inside of your startup, but there is also human side that we would like to discover more the match with these talks and podcasts. So as we start, can you paint for me where all it started and where have you come from?
Yes, so I have quite an international background, if I can say it like that. My mom is Romanian, my dad is from Spain, but I've never lived really long times in both countries. I moved to Belgium when I was pretty small. I lived there my whole life, so there I went to the European school, so all my classes were in Spanish and English, so I had a really weird mix in my mind of languages and countries. And the good thing is I met people from everywhere in the world. How it all started. So my family is pretty traditional in terms of their jobs. So being an entrepreneur was not really a thing. And I've never heard about any entrepreneurs that were not Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, that are a bit smaller, but on how they're starting, etc. I've never heard of this type of stories before I actually entered this world. At university, at school, I've never been pushed to actually be an entrepreneur or start my own business. So ZIM came to me as an idea. I was with my co-founder traveling to the Philippines when ZIM came to our minds. And since we didn't really have an example to follow, we didn't know where to start. So we kind of became entrepreneurs by chance, not because we actually looked for. We were just building the product for ourselves during COVID. We had a lot of spare time, and an accelerator found us and decided that this was going to be a business. So this is how we kind of enter entrepreneurship, and we are still learning every day on how to be better entrepreneurs.
I do believe in school they must teach entrepreneurship. This is what I'm trying to do in Equity Match. We want to open academy, and for actually already for 16 years old, if not even before, teaching that there exists also not only math, of course, but there are topics that must be addressed in school as well.
100%.
And I do believe in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, this is very important.
So it does, absolutely. I'm a big believer, a huge fan of entrepreneurs. Startups are the one who can make the life better and improving our daily life. So we should all be oriented in somehow to be entrepreneur and to start something good in life and new.
I agree.
What is the motivation behind what you're doing today?
So what we are doing, in terms of the motivation of it, is just building a great product for ourselves. So that's how we started. We needed a solution, right? So when we went to the Philippines, we encountered the issue of not having connectivity, and we were like, it's not possible anymore. Like 20 years ago, we still bought a SIM card. Now we still have to buy a SIM card. I mean, something needs to change, and we decided just to change it ourselves. So the motivation is still seeing how from an idea that came over our frustration, and we literally were talking about it over a coffee while we were traveling, to be for it to become a product that has users, and we have people that are telling us, this is awesome, your product helped me so much during my travels. It's really satisfying, and knowing that all the effort kind of pays off through that. I think this is the biggest motivation, to help improve travelers' lives and make it easier, and make a product that's just seamless and it's of high quality for our users.
I mean, I remember when I started my first startup and the feeling when I decided from tomorrow I'm going, there is no way back. So, what was your feeling?
The feeling when we started, to be 100% fair with you, I believe there was not a moment where we said, okay, let's just sit down for 2 minutes. We are actually doing this. I feel like at the beginning everything was so fast, and all the decisions were like, yes, yes, let's do this, let's do that. In just a few seconds, we had decisions made, because of course at the beginning we were only two, so it was easy to take those decisions. And everything went so fast at the beginning that I didn't really sat down and thought about it. But now when I think about the 2nd of November 2020, when we actually registered the company, um, I believe it was one of the biggest moments of my life. I literally, when I pressed the button register, I think that's where my life completely changed.
That's my next point. I mean, what were the initial struggles? I mean, we know founders, they go up and down every day. One day you're happy, the day after you're devastated, and maybe you feel you really want to close everything because that's a very tough life. And maybe you got a call, you get recharged, and you start again. It's
Mhm.
a serious roller. I've been there multiple times. And so, what were the initial struggles for you in your life as an entrepreneur?
So, to be fair, at the beginning we were a bit lost, and I personally I was very lost, because you get so many different advices and so many different comments from many different people, so you don't really know what to listen and where to sit and what to do. So for the initial times, the acceleration program we did was really really helpful, and personally I learned a lot from that, because I could see some examples of other entrepreneurs that have been through what I was going through. Definitely, I think we do not talk enough about mental health for entrepreneurs, because we are the ones that are taking bad things, also good things, but mostly bad things every single day from many different sources. If it's your investors that are having a bad day and are coming to you, if it's your team, your customers, because we are a B2C company, which means that when a customer is happy, they don't come to me saying, oh, this is awesome. But when something goes wrong, they're coming to me with everything they have. So definitely, I think we don't talk enough about the mental health of entrepreneurs, and how important it is to keep yourself at bay, and rely on other entrepreneurs or your co-founders or your team to be able to kind of balance that roller coaster. Otherwise, it's impossible to survive.
If you see back, right, and how life was before and now today, uh, how much changed?
Everything. I feel like everything changed. I but I see this mostly when I am with my friends from university or my friends from school, right? They talk about things that are completely different than what I have on my mind. In my mind, everything is about um, culture of the team, fundraising, valuations, return on investments for our investors, sales, monthly recurring revenues. And for my friends, their life is totally different. So definitely changed completely my way to vision life itself and business. I would say change for the better. I feel like I have such a good overview of how business and the economy works as well, because we don't realize it, but startups make a huge part of the economy. Um, and how important it is to have these small companies survive and thrive in different economic environments. So everything changed. I don't know what would have happened if I wouldn't have started Zim, but I can say I believe it changed for the better.
I mean, I do believe it is the most exciting life you can have. Yes, with up and down, but that's the beauty, right?
Yes.
And if you think one day I will be there, it gives you so much energy, right? Even if today can be a pretty bad day.
Yes.
But do you have a routine? I'm a pretty methodic, for example, myself. So I give me a very strong routine every day. At least when I wake up in the morning, the day must go as I want, although not always in this way. But I still keep my routine: bad day, good day. So, which kind of routine, for example, and discipline you get yourself?
So I do have a routine. I try to follow a routine as much as possible. They say everybody around me says that I became much more organized at home after I started Zim. Maybe because startup life is such a roller coaster. I need to have something else controlled in my life, otherwise everything will go sideways. But in terms of routine, I am quite focused on my timings. So before we raised our first round of investment, everything was all over the place. I used to work very different hours. Maybe a day I woke up at 7 in the morning and stopped working at 10. Maybe one day I started at 2 a.m. and I finished at 1 p.m. It was very chaotic. So after that, I learned that I cannot live that way. I need to, even if it's my own company, I need to see this as a job as well. Like not 9 to 5, obviously, because it's not what it is. It will never feel like that. But I need to have a routine in order to keep my good mental health, to keep really good social relations as well, because this is very important, and to keep a clear mindset. So I do wake up early in the morning. I do have my morning breakfast. It's pretty bad, but I do sit on my phone while I have breakfast. I check my morning emails. I want to go to the office and not have a full inbox. That's very, very important for my mindset for the day. And during the day, I have everything set up in time slots in my calendar. So Google Calendar for me is the biggest help in the world. I have even personal time. I put it on the calendar just to make sure that everything is organized. And I'm also very that I don't take too much time doing the tasks that shouldn't take more time. I don't procrastinate, and I do have time for everything. Plus, to also enjoy at night when I go back home to relax, be able to watch a movie or just sit on my couch for at least 1 hour before I go to bed. So definitely Google Calendar for me has set up my routine, but I try to exercise as well. That hasn't been very successful in the past months, but I do try it, and I believe I do recommend it, and people do recommend it to me as well. It's very, very important. Because, entrepreneurs, once we get into the day of work, sometimes I'm with my computer and I forget about time. And it's 8 p.m. and I'm like, where did the time go? So it's important to have that reminders in my calendar telling me, hey, it's time to go home, or it's time to go to the gym, or even it's time to have lunch. Because if you're by yourself, thank God that in the office we have the team and they remind me to have lunch. Otherwise, time can pass by.
Time flies. I mean, it's good because you're doing something that you like. That's why you don't think about time, right?
Exactly.
Who is employed, like doesn't like the job they're doing, they start watching they just look at the watch any second and see if they can go home at five
Exactly.
plus one. So we enjoy what we do. That's a very big bless. So
100%.
in between everything you're doing, what do you like the most?
So I would say my favorite part of Zim is building and creating. So this is something I've actually started doing a bit less lately since the team expanded, and now we have a marketing team in house, and we have a product officer in house. So everything that's creativity, I feel like um, I've been letting go a bit, but I really enjoyed the first part of Zim when we started creating what features is the product going to have, how are we going to talk to our customers, how are we going to find our customers, and the UX, the UI. This is really interesting to see how your customers actually interact with the product. And I do miss that a bit, but what I do like now, it became also one of my favorite things is talking to users. Even if they're complaining, it's I feel like I learned so much from how they use the product and how they talk to us, because we also have really nice users that come to us and they're like, you changed my life, you made this so much better. And at the end of the day, that's why we are here and that's why we are working so hard. So yeah, talking to customers and also the team building events. I love creating a nice team culture, and I believe that was really important since the beginning. In my past job, I worked for a cloud content management company from Silicon Valley. They really, really valued culture, and I think got really deep in me as well. And since the beginning, we knew what culture we wanted to have. So we do several team building events and organizing that and see how the team interacts to each other. I think that's one of my favorite things as well.
I mean, culture is probably the most important things in any startup,
Hmm.
especially when we talk about startups, right? If you start at the very beginning to build the right culture, it will help a lot. In when the difficult time comes, also in a good time, building this kind of very strong relationship between teams is absolutely mandatory. I do
Hmm.
believe it's not for
Yes.
everyone, but I'm a big believer in this. Now, you started from scratch. So as the startup grows, how does your life accordingly change?
So I said at the beginning, I felt like I was involved in so many things, and that was fun. That was really interesting. That helped my personal growth a lot. I learned I was not a CEO and founder. I was a fundraising manager. I was in marketing. I was in finance. I was in HR. I was in kind of everything. Now I feel like my role has certainly drifted more through all the financials of the business, the cash flow, the investor management, which I do enjoy as well. But that changed a lot. Now I'm pretty much focused on the same things every day. I do still have meetings for the creative side, but I'm mostly a watcher, and my co-founder kind of took that role more in depth. Um, Also, working with my team has been changed a lot from the beginning until now. Before, I used to do all my meetings with my co-founder Julia, and we were all day together and talking over the phone. Now I feel like at the end of the day we have our little catch up. How was your day? How everything is going? But we do have our separate things, because if we don't divide, we don't conquer. It's we have way too many things to be taken care of to have to be both of us in the same meetings all the time. So that changed a lot my relationship also with my team. I feel like now I'm a bit more doing my own thing, but of course always in a collaborative way. Um, and my personal life changed a lot as well. Like at the beginning, everything was more chaotic. Now I feel like I also basically I have a job. Before, everybody thought it was like, hey, yeah, this is everybody thought I was available all the time because I was doing my own thing. So doing your own thing doesn't mean you have to report to anybody. So I remember my parents were calling me 3 p.m. on a Thursday, and when I told them I had meetings, they were like, whoa, but do you really actually have meetings? So now that after we got our office, the team has grown, the company has grown as well. We have investment. Now I feel like people take it more that as I have a job as well than before, and I tend to manage my time better. At the beginning, it was a complete horrible disaster. Now I feel like my time management skills have very much improved. As if the company grows, you need to grow with it, but you need to have your own focus and understand that you cannot work 24 hours a day.
I mean, you must, if you must. I mean, otherwise, you really go where I want to go now, which means burnout. Many founders, they collapse, they seriously collapse. They want to do too much altogether,
Yeah.
and they end up doing nothing because one day you just give up. As I say, as the company grows from startup, you become a scale up, and one day you become hopefully a very good company, right? Concrete, established. If you
Yeah.
don't delegate, there is no way you can do. So the best part of yourself is when you hire someone
Yes.
and where you really create a team that is strong enough to bring you to the next level. As I said to all the founders, the people who started with you day one won't be the people who brings you to day 2, 3, 4, 5. One day you let them go because you need different skills. And yourself, you need to build up your skills as well.
100%.
Otherwise, you won't be there. That's the point. Now, burnout. How does you cope with the stress of your daily stress because it is stressful?
Um, I want to make it all beautiful, saying that I do not stress, but that doesn't happen. I stress a lot, and there are periods where of times that I stress more than what I'm supposed to stress, and periods of time where I'm a bit more relaxed. I think this happens to everyone. I believe I will not reach burnout for many different reasons, and I hope so. We'll never say never, but I do have a really good relationship with my co-founder, which I think it's key at this stage of a startup, is to, as you said, delegate. So if I'm feeling a bit down, if for example, I have days when I wake up and I'm really seeing everything very dark. Even though everything is going well for the business, I'm very negative. And those days I take a bit more longer in the morning to get ready. I grab a cup of coffee and I tell my co-founder, "Hey, can you take these meetings for me? I just need some personal time, for a couple of hours to go on a walk." And that's the good thing about having a really close and good relationship with the people that you founded the business with. It's just amazing how you can actually balance each other. So if she's having a bad day, I'm the one that's trying to lift her up, and vice versa. So that really helped since the beginning. To actually get out of that bubble that founders create for themselves. I talk to a lot of founders, and of course we are in these big communities, and I see solo founders mostly that are getting into this really dark bubble, and it's so hard to get out because you don't really see anything other than your business and your problems. So it's good to have that really good balance between yourself and your co-founder, and I think I'm really lucky to have found that. As said, delegate is also very important, and also not taking things very personally has helped me. I haven't learned how to do this 100% well. Everything still feels very personal, but little by little, I'm learning to let it go, and mostly on the weekends. Like if I before 1 year ago when I saw a customer reporting, because we do have some really rude customers reporting something on a Sunday, my Sunday was done. I just thought about that and how I can improve it. Now I'm thinking, hey, I'm going to solve this issue for the client, but it's not going to make my day worse or bad. So I'm still learning, to be continued, I guess.
I mean, the point is when you start a company, it's seriously like a family. It's you, maybe two, three, a co-founder. If you have a co-founder, sometimes it's just a sole entrepreneur. It's you. That's the point. So
Hmm.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday, there is not that much difference between them. And you
Exactly.
take everything, but you must learn don't take anything personally because this will be a huge mistake. Huge.
100%.
It will drag you to the end because just too much. Business, life is life. And in business, you will never be 100% right. It will never be 100% okay for everyone. So just
Exactly.
take into consideration and you just move on, right?
Hmm.
Now, failure. I know nobody likes to talk about failure, but failure is there for 90% of startups.
Yeah.
It's very good. You never think of failure, but you should know maybe you can fail as everyone can. Now, do you have these kind of thoughts? And if you had them, how you let them go?
Definitely. So I think we, at the beginning, everything was more, let's work really hard to achieve this goal and this goal. And once we achieve that goal, we went to the next goal. So we didn't really think about failure. I think when we started thinking about failure, one was when we actually brought our team together in London. So everybody was remote before, but in August last year, so it's been already 1 year, almost 1 year, we brought all the team together to the office in London. And that's when we realized, like, okay, now we have people that do rely on us. Like, what if we fail? And that's the point when you start thinking about maybe running is not the best option. Maybe just walking fast is good enough just to assure that the startup has a future. And all these people that are putting so much effort into their jobs every day, that they will have a stable future as well. I think that was kind of the insertion point where we started thinking about failure. And I started reflecting as a founder, but also as a person, what if this doesn't go as I want it to go? And that could happen at any moment. Like right now, we are growing very well. What if another COVID comes? What if, I don't know? There is so many I don't knows in the world that could happen, that could affect our business. So I said before, never say never. I did started to think about it. I think the biggest thing about failure is that we don't talk enough about it. You on LinkedIn, you see all of these very successful founders that wake up at 5 in the morning, exercise, and then they have this really successful business and they grow their business from 0 to 1 million in 5 weeks. And there's so many cases of that, but on LinkedIn, because in real life, this is not what happens. As you said, 90% of startups fail. Um, so I think there's not enough people talking about failure for us to actually start embracing failure.
Yeah.
Because failure is good sometimes. You learn so many things. I'm not saying about big failure because that can actually crush your soul. But little small failures, it's also good. You learn, you start becoming more strong, and you improve your skills by failing. So I don't think there's anything bad about failing. It's just that we don't talk enough about it. So when you fail, you are so ashamed that you don't really want to talk about it. So that's why I think on LinkedIn and on all these social media channels, we make everything look so bright and so pink. That is not true. I mean, I do not wake up at 5 in the morning. I do not exercise every day. I I didn't bring my business from 0 to 1 million in 5 weeks, and I'm still here, and I'm happy. Um, I went to this event in Madrid, which was called Fuck Up Nights, um, and it was about founders talking about failure. And honestly, to be fair, I've been to hundreds of events. Best event by far because it was so cool. Everybody was so relaxed. We were just all talking about failure stories. Um, I would love to reproduce this in London and see who shows up and what we talk about. But definitely, failure is a big world that I don't think we should be so afraid of it. And look at how many startup founders that are successful now have failed in the past. Um, what it's the dark side about failure is that if your startup fails, it's not only affecting you, it's affecting the people that have put a lot of effort into the startup. Of course, your investors, your customers, and everybody else that was kind of involved in the whole journey.
I mean, investors, they're prepared.
Yes.
If investors, employees, maybe even a bit worse. But the bad side effect of any failure, if you don't learn, if you learn, it's okay. It's painful. It's very painful, but you can stand up again and move on in a better position than before, for sure. And here comes the American mentality. Europe is very old-fashioned in
Mhm.
this. America, they love if you fail, in a way that okay, you learned. I hope you learned.
Yeah.
So next time we won't do again. Here, failure is very complicated stuff around everything from finance to banking. If you fail in Europe, it can be a nightmare.
Yes.
But this is why we are behind US. We are still there for at least 20 years, in my opinion. Now, where do you see yourself? I mean, you start with a friend. and I do believe your co-founder for you has been an absolutely help. And but where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself? I do believe founders must knowledge themselves. And the best way for you to grow in knowing your weaknesses and not strengths. We all know the strengths, but we are not as much focused on weakness. And this is where the pain point comes, right?
Mhm.
So do you see yourself be a CEO of your company in 5 years' time?
So to be fair, when I started Zim, I didn't think about what will happen in 5 years. I was just focused on let's see if we can make it to next month. Let's see if we can make it to next product, next release, etc. Now, for the past year, I have started thinking about the future. So it's something that I always say, but before I think this is the third time I mentioned never say never. I don't want to IPO my company and I don't want to see my company IPO. I don't want to be there. Just I don't feel like I am ready to um, start Zim and see it IPO. I don't want to be there. You might ask me why. I won't be able to give you a straight answer, but I just know that I don't want to be there. I know that Zim is my amazing career start. I do believe I want to be there in the next 5 years. I would love to be the CEO if the market allows it um, the life allows it as well in 5 years. But I do know there's many, many more things that I would love to do after that as well. I would love for Zim to become a multi-million dollar company, um, but I just don't want to IPO. And I don't want to be there when that happens, if that happens.
IPO, it's a way to exit, right? IPO is not a must to go.
Yeah.
Although I do believe in experience that if you can have would pay off. I mean, it's a very great experience, but not everyone must IPO. IPO, it's a way to finance your company. It's a way
Exactly.
to, in some, to build up your ego because in some can be very
Exactly.
grateful for your rewards, but we can do so much even without any IPO. There are some companies, Elon Musk is the first one who understood that if you want to grow, maybe it's outside
Yeah.
the public market because it judges you every week almost. It's not every day. Now, how does look like your life outside business? You must do something with your friends. Or, yeah, I believe so.
Yes. Well, I started having a more focused personal life lately. I do love to read, which I haven't done. I haven't actually read a full book in ages. So now I'm starting to do that again. Just have some time for myself to read a good book. That's not only about entrepreneurship and how to grow your startup, how to do your finances, because I read about that, but I want to read a book for me. I love to swim. In London, that's very, very hard, but I still want to take the time to do that, and I still do on the weekends. And I love going back to Spain, where I'm from, and enjoying the good food, my family. We actually have a beach house, so going to the beach as well. And the flexibility that my jobs allows me is to work from home or kind of remotely. So traveling. I feel like I haven't lost the spark for traveling. And every time we have like a business conference somewhere, my co-founder and I usually stay for a couple of more days just to enjoy what made us actually start them. So definitely traveling is one of those as well.
That's the most beautiful thing in business is traveling.
Yes,
I always try to get an extra 1 2 days, especially if the weekend comes and many events are done on
exactly,
Thursday, Friday, Thursday.
exactly,
Uh, it's beauty, right? You must reward in somehow your life,
exactly.
which is pretty stressful. So it's good. Now, what's the biggest lesson you got so far? What can be?
Oh, people is the most important thing and the most important asset that you will have around you. If you have good people around you, you will be okay. Even in the worst situation, if you have supportive, amazing people next to you, talented people, you will be okay. So I think that was the biggest lesson from the beginning until now. 3 years past is people surround yourself with good people.
I do believe so. What's the relationship with co-founders? I'm asking your co-founder. I'm asking this because many times co-founders they start well, they start fighting, and the company collapses behind. Now, but they can be very helpful, especially when it comes to bedtime. Be alone in a bedtime is absolutely terrible.
Yeah,
And founders are solo. There is nothing to do. CEO and founders are solo because you can't that
yeah,
much give emotion. You can't say, okay, today I'm weak because if you're weak, you're telling 25 employees that you're weak. So that it's not a good message actually to them.
yeah.
So, what's your relationship with your co-founder?
So to give you a bit of a background story, me and my co-founder met each other when we were 10 years old. So very very young. It's been 15 years that we know each other. We met at the European School in Brussels. We got to be really good friends. We actually started a retail business at school that went pretty good. Um, and we worked together in the past in many different projects. So that's why when we came to Zim, we knew we were ready to work with each other. Then she went to the UK. I went to the UK as well, but different universities. We kept in touch. And when she went to Hong Kong for her master's, I decided to visit her. We did our little trip to the Philippines, and that's kind of when we thought, hey, this is a good idea. So we know each other for very, very long, which I think can be a big danger for our friendship because at the beginning it was actually damaging that part of friendship because we were only talking business. We also have the same kind of group of friends. So when we were with the same friends, we were only talking about them and this kind of annoying people that cannot let go of the same thing. Um, and at some point we sat down, we were like, no, we need to separate our friendship to them. So whenever she comes to the office in London, we talk about business during the day. And then we always have a dinner where we go and grab a glass of wine and we only talk about like our own personal lives, which is it's really fun. Um, so I do believe that it was this good relationship that helped us kind of achieve where we are right now. Good trust in each other. We trust each other so I know if she takes a decision, she's gonna take the decision that's best for the business. And also it's fun. I mean, at some point, it's also good to laugh and to have a good time while you're building your business and also sometimes to laugh at yourself of the mistakes you do. And I think having a person that knows you and can laugh with you, it's really really good.
Oh, absolutely. Uh, I've been solo entrepreneur for all my life. I
Okay.
had a lot of friends of mine. It's challenging. It's very challenging, but it depends also on your character. You need to find the right founder.
Yes.
So pretty much, if you get the wrong one, co-founder can be a shock, and maybe you never start.
Exactly.
But if you believe the right one, it's a huge help.
Yes.
It's huge. You talk the same language, you had the same problem, you share the same vision. It's a different story.
Yes.
What's your greatest wish for yourself and for your company?
um for I'm gonna start with the company one because I think it's a bit easier always than talking about oneself. For your company, I wanted to make up like to have a purpose. Right now our purpose is to help travelers stay connected. I want to achieve that purpose. I want the company to get bigger, to help more people, to create an impact in the economy, to be able to achieve to where we wanted to go in the next 5 years, to become the number one marketplace of eSIM plans. Kind of that's what one of my wishes. Hopefully with me by its side. For me, my biggest wish is to be driven. I feel like as an entrepreneur, I see also most of my friends that are not entrepreneurs that they go to work and they're just there. They just 9 to 5, get my salary gone. I want to have that purpose all my life in whatever I do. If it's Zim, if it's with other startup, if it's even working for someone, having that drive that makes me wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, I do really want to go to work today, because generally I do have days that I wake up and I don't feel like coming to the office. But most of the time I wake up and I think this is so exciting. I'm so excited to go to work and um, tackle all these challenges that we have every day. So if it's with purpose, I think you can do whatever you want. But I just don't want to become that person that just does something for doing something. I want that passion. I want that driven mindset that I have now to continue.
That's the difference. What makes really difference is passion. If you're passionate about what
Yes,
you're doing, you don't feel tired. You must give you some kind of timing, because otherwise you just spend your life working. Life is worth something
yes,
more than just work. Absolutely traveling. There is so much to do in life. And Bill Gates, I remember an interview done to Bill Gates, and he said, how I had learned before that life was not just working in Microsoft, but maybe even traveling, as I'm enjoying so much now. But of course, traveling with billions and having a pleasant
exactly,
life, it's different.
exactly.
It's a totally different story. Now, if you have any advice for the founders who are watching our podcast today, what can be?
Um, you will receive a lot of advice. You don't always need to follow it. Sometimes trusting your gut, it's key to the success of your company. And I believe that was one of the mistakes we had at the beginning. We had too many people telling us what to do and how to do it. And at some point, we just trusted our guts, and that's how we kind of arrived where we are. Um, and same thing, find yourself a good mental support. If it's in your co-founder, if it's in your partner, if it's in your friends. I was gonna say if it's in your investors, but that doesn't usually happen. But find a good mental support while you're in this journey. There's a lot of groups of entrepreneurs that meet up, go to those things. It helps a lot to de-stress and get out of this bubble that you're in, and understanding that other people are in exactly the same situation as you.
I agree. I mean, again, sharing, it's good and also helps you, right? You go
Yes,
out, meet up people, meet up entrepreneurs, pretty much sharing the same problems and the same excitement and passion. So it very much recharges you.
yes,
It gives you energy for the day coming, right?
100%.
Irina, I really thank you so much for coming to the Life of Founder. It's been an absolutely pleasure for me, and I hope to see you again maybe in a couple months
Amazing.
or in a
Thank you
year.
so
And I
much.
don't know, want IPO, but maybe we can celebrate your IPO or your mega exit.
Imagine. Well,
Thank you
thank
so
you
much.
so much, Max. It was a pleasure, and yeah, feel free to reach out whenever you want.
My pleasure. Thank you.